Welcome. We've been given the go-ahead, the green light. We can get started. I want to introduce myself. I am Joseph Perfacci. I'm the Executive Director of the North American Olive Oil Association. We represent about 65 companies in the United States that either produce or import or distribute olive oils around the country. But not just the United States, but also in Canada. I've been in this role for about 8 years. I've seen a lot change in the last 10 years. Consumption in the United States has grown almost 30%. So we're definitely on a trajectory of growth. As Jaime Leo said earlier today, the United States has become the second largest consuming country in the world. I don't know, is it still? Because I know, so when the prices went up in Spain, they lost a lot of consumption in Spain. And so we jumped ahead because we did not lose consumption in the US. And it's an interesting thing. I'll just tell you my theory is that the United States comes from a culture where, unless you're like myself from an ethnic background where your family used olive oil, for others, it's a choice. You've made a conscious choice to switch from a cooking oil that's less expensive to buy something more expensive for a reason. And the reason is health, number one. But secondarily, it's taste. Because if it didn't taste good, you wouldn't buy it. And that's why we're here today. So we're here with a panel of chefs. I'll introduce them later, but I have to wonder why I am here, because I am not a chef. I like to cook, but I'm not a chef. So anyway, what I would like to do, just give you a little background at the beginning, so my perspective of why this is important, why the chefs are important. And we just came from a session where Tassos from Yale University said something, chefs have the power, and they do. And this is what my presentation is, very short presentation is about. So let me get started. Okay, so this is the title of our presentation is The Chef as Promoter of Extra Virgin Olive Oil Use. And we're going to explore how chefs can redefine perceptions of extra virgin olive oil. If we put U.S. in there, but it doesn't necessarily mean U.S. This is the wrong presentation. So did I send the wrong one? It's okay because the slides are going to be very similar. So ironically, I was asked to chair. I had 2 roundtables this week. Like one was on Saturday in Spain, and I flew here on Sunday morning. So these were the other chefs, but so it was the same. It's the same thing. You sure there's no other one for? Okay. My laptop is here, but it's probably. So why don't you take that? All right. You know what? I will go through it quickly here. So same basic thing. There's more slides here, so I'll go much faster. But so why food service matters for the adoption of extra virgin olive oil, and then ways that chefs can influence the use. There are 2 ways in particular I want to highlight. One is in the restaurant, and the other is through public media. This is where chefs have the power. At-home cooking trends come from consumers' food away from home experiences. So this is a survey that was done. It was published in this Data Essentials. At least 70% of U.S. consumers indicate that their food preferences are driven primarily by what they encounter on restaurant menus, more so than what they find on grocery store shelves or in a recipe book. So here it is. It's the power of the chef. What they see on the menu and what they're eating and enjoying in the restaurants. So some quick fast facts: Americans love to eat out. 9 in 10 adults say they enjoy going to restaurants. Americans spend more than half of their food dollars on what we call food away from home. Food away from home also includes meals that are prepared at restaurants or outside the home, but eaten at home. So 47% of US adults pick up takeout food from the restaurant, and 37% order delivery at least once a week. And for the younger generations, millennials and Gen Zs, the number's higher. This I find incredible. In the first quarter of 2004, in New York City, there were 2.8 million food deliveries per week. And that's an increase of 5% from the previous quarter, so it's continuing to rise. If you've spent some time in New York recently, you have to be very careful when you cross the street for delivery bikes that are racing around with food deliveries. Chefs can influence extra virgin olive oil use in restaurants in a couple of ways. At the table, this was a trend I think really started pretty much in the United States back in the 80s, 90s, where restaurants would put an olive oil bottle on the table. That continues today, but we could do more there. So these are just some ideas, like when you have a bottle of olive oil on the table, why not provide a little more information? Maybe a little card about the olive oil, where it came from, what its harvest is, what's the variety. The restaurant could add on, maybe upsell, and say, okay, this is the olive oil we're providing today, but we have others. We can give you a flight, give you a choice. We provide the servers with some information so they know when the consumer sits down, they can tell them what to look for, let them try it, and then maybe even prep and serve at table. You bring a salad, you use the oil and drizzle it, show them how to use it. So on the menu, these would be menu call-outs where it's an opportunity to educate the diner on what they're going to eat and how. So I actually used ChatGPT. I said, can you find me restaurant menus where they include a description of how olive oil is used, and they gave me a whole bunch of menus. So this was one. Here, this is a restaurant in Alexandria, Virginia. So they call out drizzling with extra virgin olive oil. They season with extra virgin olive oil. Here, they're linguine. They sauteed with extra virgin olive oil. This is another restaurant in Rochester, Minnesota. They rub salmon fillet with extra virgin olive oil. And then this is a restaurant, popular restaurant in Los Angeles. So here they're grilling with extra virgin olive oil. And then these are sort of novel uses in a way, right? There's a cake, so they made cake with extra virgin olive oil, and then olive oil croutons. So these are examples of how chefs can influence the use both through taste and methods. This is how olive oil can be used. I'm going to skip this part because it's not really too relevant for you guys. And this is just some basic information about the influence that chefs can have on cooking shows through cookbooks and social media. More than half of American consumers these days are learning about food and cooking through TikTok and YouTube. That's where they're getting most of their information. So, okay, so that's me. That's the end of this story. But I have these beautiful slides of the two chefs that we don't have, but they have their own slides. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Maria Jose Roman, who's, I'll let her tell you about herself. These are her slides, and she'll go from here.
Hello, everybody. I come from Alicante. Whoa. I come from Alicante. It's the region of Valencia. You know Spain? Yes. So Spanish from Valencia community, Alicante. Full of olive oil trees like here is very similar. We have the mountains, we have the sea. So since Beyond Extra Virgin in Verona in 2009, I think, I became like a fanatic of the olive oil, a crazy. And since then, I keep searching and searching into what is better, how can we get better, how can we talk about olive oil to the clients in the restaurants. If you do a search on Google, you will see all my dishes, almost all my dishes are with extra virgin olive oil. Of course, also desserts. Of course, we're going to have tomorrow at the market an extra virgin olive oil ice cream. And that's what we sell most in my, well, I have to say, I not only have one restaurant, I have 4 restaurants, different offered, and like 10 places. We serve food to more than 1,500 every day. But I have a fine dining place called Monastrell, which is the place where I can play, I can experience, because as you may know, when you have Michelin stars and you have so many awards, people are afraid of you. They think it's going to be very expensive, so it's not a business. I made the business in my Taberna del Gourmet, which is probably one of the best places in the country to eat. We do a lot of people in Taberna del Gourmet, but Monastrell is my place where I play. And people come and they know they have to eat what I do. It's not, it's not their choice. They come, if they like me, they like what I do, then they're in. If not, they don't come. That's the risk. That's why you don't make money. If you don't serve the people what they want, then they are against. And that's a problem. But I'm a fighter. I've been a fighter since I was a kid. So Monastrell is my place where I do the olive oil revolution. And as I said, in 2008, Beyond Extra Virgin in Verona, put Spain into a conflict where we are not doing so well. Italians are much better. That's why we are here now to tell you that Greece also can be better, and Turkey, any country that wants to be better, or any of you that want to be better, you can do it. So the revolution started from mediocre quality olive oil production to one of the most beautiful olive oils in the world are now done in Spain. We are #1 producer in the world, like 2 times more than Italy produced, so we are really the country of the olive oil since the Roman Empire. Why this happens? Because of research and technology, and we collaborate with scientists, producers, and chefs, all together, trying to get the best out of this magnificent product. So quality was focused on innovation. And that's the point I'm going to talk to you today, because I think most of you, we are talking about olive oil all the time, a Mediterranean diet. Do you know, all of you, how olive oil is made? All of you, yes, you know, it's a meal and then pressure, okay. Then we are going to forget about this, because sometimes there's so many confusion in the bottles. First press. People think there's a first press for you, a bottle just for you, because you pay very expensive, then it's first press. And then there's a second press that you pay half. Do you think this is truth? No, it's not like this. In New York, I have a friend, a baker, and he says to me, I'm buying tiers of olive oil. And I said, what is this? And I said, well, when they put all the olives together, they throw they drip something, and then they pick it in a bottle, and this is, before making the olive oil, you get this essence, which is called tears. He's the best baker in Brooklyn, but he has no idea about olive oil, okay? So that's the world we have. We are in the Mediterranean place, and we know, most of us, we know more than the rest of the world. So the rest of the world don't know nothing. So we have a lot of work to do. That's why today I'm going to talk to you, because you are already connoisseurs, that we don't talk about olive oil. My first presentation in Modena, in Verona, was about the varieties. I never talk about olive oil. Will you ask for a wine and say, I just want a wine? You will say red, white, sparkling. And then you will say, well, I want a Cabernet Sauvignon, or I want a Merlot. All of you will do that. You will never order a glass of wine just like this. So when I use olive oil, I always put the name of the olives where it comes from. Because in Spain, we can pick them separate. We have hojiblanca, picual, picuda, cornicabra, arbequina. So for me, it's a game. When I want to make a dish, I just play with the different varieties, and which one of them is going to be best, and that's going to be my choice. But there is another thing that you have to consider, and then is when the olive oil is made. If it's early harvest, fresh press, fresh press, tears, or if it's mature. You need 10 liters, 10 kilos of olives to make one early harvest olive oil, which means it's going to be pretty expensive. But you only need 5 kilos to make the mature. Why do we all think green is the best? Everybody, you show them this. This was made last Monday for you. You're going to try this today, okay? This was made in Jaén, and everybody's, wow, it's green, it must be good. What about if it's not good? No matter how much you pay for an olive oil, you have to try. You know, everybody knows that you have to try the olive oil. No matter how much you pay, it can be whatever, because it's a fresh juice. So what about mature? Also amazing. It doesn't smell grass, but it smells carotenes. It's different polyphenols, but they are there also. It's not that this olive oil is worse than the other one in terms of nutrition, taste, but different purposes. Will you use this to fry $20, $40 maybe in America? Will you use that to fry? No. Will you use that to make a rice or to cook lentils? No. Once you hit this, it's going to lose everything. So we should take care of this olive oil like the first oil of the year. Then now we really is the time for this. From now till January next year. Will this be green? No, not at all. It won't be green, and it won't be as good as it is now. So that's why we have to consider the two words, the early harvest and the mature. Both, and it's just the juice of the olives. And it has to taste the olive where it comes from. If it's arbequina, it should taste arbequina. If it's hojiblanca, and no other taste. I never consider other taste. When you talk about faults, it's not the olive oil I chose. It needs to be perfect if I want to use it. So this is the early harvest. You see how green the paste is, and then you get this oil. You have a sample at the table. We are talking about this later. So this is the oil you get when you pick it now, this week, next week, during this month of October. But if you pick from December, wait, you get this. You get this. Wait. Wow, I went too far. I went too far. I mean, the color, we talk about color. Color wasn't important. So let's go again. So, late mature. It's going to be December, January, February. Why not? Look at them. Beautiful. Good. As good as the other ones. So color doesn't matter. Look, another color. Different color, but the same, as good as the green one. We are used to say green is good, yellow is not. It's not true. And you can try later on. So you get different oil from the mature, almost the same at the looking. And you see, is it still being done the same in the past? See? Harvest from the floor, dirty places, press, the press, remember the press? And then you get this. That was olive oil in the past. Maybe Romans were like this. Greeks were like this. Spaniards, of course. We were all guilty. We were all like this. But new times, we pick from the trees. We immediately, in hours, we mill, we beat. Wait, why is not? And then we get the extra virgin olive oil like this in hours. Like wine, you know, you get wine and then you go get the grapes, you put them in the fridge and then you make the wine. Olive oil now are picked fresh, immediately gone to the almazara and then made, then kept without light and oxygen and at the right temperature, because this is a juice. As much care as you take of the olive oil, the more you will get about it. So that's why, wow, for me, best way to keep olive oil is bag-in-box. This is a result of investigation of Brigitte Jimenez, and I never buy olive oil in bottles myself. I put them in bottles for the table and to give as a present, but in my restaurant, I never, ever buy bottles. I always buy bag-in-box. And the manufacturers are making 1,000 liters bag-in-box for me, a big selection for my restaurant, and then I get from them as much as I need, because once the season is harvest, the olive oil is going to be the same one the whole year. So if they deliver to me, I will take care of the temperature, because in bag-in-box is no light and no air. My suggestion is, no matter how much you spend, as much as I said before, if it's not well kept, it's not going to be good for a long time. So bag-in-box is my suggestion. So, chefs, influencers, you are right. Where is the presenter? we have the power, and we are going to use it. I'm using that power, actually. That's why I'm here. But we have a responsibility. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow in the conference, the responsibility of the chefs, how we can really influence in the change of habits of people. And as a sample, because they told me you have to cook, you have to make a presentation, and there's no much possibility to cook here. That's why I thought, why not telling them about, why don't you try what is an early harvest oil? Where do we have them? You have a plate with 2 pipettes, and there is a greener one, which is going to be an arbequina. Is it arbequina? This one. Where no zucchini, the plate without zucchini, you have a arbequina early harvest. Okay, the green one. Then you have an arbequina. No, I think it's a picual. Sorry, it's a picual. It's a picual, fresh pick this week. Early harvest. The green one. You can try. You can try. You know how to try olive oil? You can close your nose. You can do like this. Put inside. And then you open your nose and you get the aromas. What about this? Spicy. It's too fresh. Really, it's made 2 days ago. And then we're going to see how was the mature from last year. It was a mature. I cannot get a mature from this year because it's not the time yet. So we have this one. It's bitter, yes. Sometimes now it's not even bitter olive oils. If you filter very well, it can be just spicy and not bitter. But this one is a little bit bitter. Then you have this early harvest, and the other one is the mature.
The same variety. The same variety.
After a year, it's really good.
Yeah.
But it's a good olive oil. You wouldn't say this is a bad olive oil and the other one is a very, very good one. You will consider they are both good. You didn't like it?
like.
No, which one do you like? The green one. You are spoiled. That's why we are the chefs.
Extra virgin olive oil.
Then we have here the green, early, and the mature. And as I said, you will never do a stew, you will never fry, you will never cook with the green one. You will cook with this one, which will be half of the price. So what about what I'm cooking and what I'm showing you at the table? As I couldn't cook, and well, this is cooking too. I made a cold sauce with the early harvest picual and another sauce with the early harvest arbequina. So the first you have with the zucchini is the arbequina Bernays extra virgin olive oil. Bernays, the most beautiful sauce in the world. Don't you like Bernays?
Yes.
Why don't you try the Bernays made with extra virgin olive oil? This is really too fresh. I have to say this is too fresh. Some people, they don't deliver oils until they spend a month in their place. But you can try the zucchini with the Bernays. It can be with a fish, it can be with a meat. What about a fillet with this sauce? And then you put in your menu filet of beef with extra virgin olive oil, Bernays, blah, 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 blah. And people like it. Suddenly there is something new, and you can charge. Do you like it? Do you like it? Normally I will do this with asparagus in my restaurant, but now it's no season, so why not zucchini? Do you like it? Very good with asparagus, very good with fish, very good with bread, very good with everything. Let's say it's a kind of mayonnaise, but higher. So, tarragon, yes. So how do I do it? Just in case you want to have a recipe, is vinegar. This is an egg I make at 65 degrees with a runner for 25 minutes. So it's not a hard-boiled egg, it's almost, I can show you. We can see that. Can you put the egg here? You open. So this egg, the vinegar, the fresh tarragon, which I brought from Spain and now is almost dead. Tarragon, and then the extra virgin olive oil. And you all know how to use a blender. Let me see. A ver. How do we do? Easy, so easy. You know how difficult it is to make a Bernays with butter? Have you ever done it? No? It is difficult. I have to tell you, it's very, very hard. It's one of the most difficult things. So now we can make it with extra virgin olive oil, more or less the same result. If different, is for better. And then you have, this is what I wanted to show you, we can make. But, because we were talking about varieties and the differences between early harvest, mature, and varieties, you have another variety of olive oil in the other plate, which will be picual. Did you have the picual before? The arbequina. You had one, and in the other plate is another variety. So try the other one. See if there is one that you like more than the other. Are you missing zucchini? You eat them all. Good. So which one is better? The second one is better. Is the second one better?
More the olive oil first,
The picual?
No, arbequina.
Okay. But you think picual is better for this Bernays?
More
Balance.
Yes,
I think I was very. I shouldn't make it with such a fresh oil, but in a month that will be really mild to make a Bernays. And guess what this is? I'm not serving this to you. This is the mature. I tried to make my Bernays also to show you what happened with the mature. If you want to try, you have to come to the table and try, but it's not good. It's not good. I will not use a mature to make a béarnaise to put on the top of my lobster, on the top of my filet, on the top of my green asparagus, because that's why we decide, chefs, what we do with each olive oil we have available. It means it's a huge world to play, and that's what I do in my restaurant. How are we doing with the time? I'm okay.
We
It's
started
too
late,
much?
so it seems like we should probably move on, and we'll have
We go to the other
we'll have
one.
time for questions and answers.
So this is what I have in my restaurant. Is a choice of so many things around olive oil that makes me not talking only about olive oil. I just said early harvest, the variety, who is the producer, also very important, and then I have a lot of storytelling on the olive oil world that makes me very special.
Thank you very much, Maria Jose. And we'll now introduce Jason Patanovic, can speak for himself.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for coming today. And I also have a quick PowerPoint. Might not run through all the slides, because I know we're maybe a little bit back on time. But as we've all kind of said throughout the entire time, the power of the chef is definitely the one who's going to be able to influence the usage of the olive oil or the extra virgin olive oil within his or her purview. I am Associate Dean and Co-Chair of Olive Oil Curriculum at the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. It's an honor to be here today to present and to attend the conference. My family is from Croatia. We're long heritage of olive oil makers, and it's been in my blood forever too. So it's come somewhat natural to kind of be here and to understand olive oil and the production of olive oil and the use of olive oil in cuisine. But getting it mainstream and getting it in front of students in the future of the culinary world sometimes is a little bit difficult because of flavor profiles and especially in the United States, they're not used to tasting so much aggressive, powerful olive oil. We as connoisseurs, we enjoy that robust, green, peppery, strong, grassy, kind of harsh, a little bit, kind of scratch your throat, make you cough a little bit, in the olive oil itself. So, the roots of flavor in the Mediterranean kitchen, we're the ones who can help bring this forth, obviously, to what we're doing. So, Mediterranean terroir, this is something that we all know about. This is something that I think is very important that myself and Joe were talking about before. The region that the olives are growing in, the ground that the olives are growing in, or the trees of the ground are growing in, is obviously going to influence the flavor profile, just like with wine, back into the olives themselves, all right? And this is something that I think is a great kind of learning for people to do. If you taste a monocultivar from a specific region, and you taste another monocultivar, the exact same thing from another region, same country, I guarantee they're gonna be completely different. Because the grounds that they're grown in, but at the same time, they're gonna have attributes similar to themselves, but the flavors are definitely gonna be definitely different. Soil composition and microclimates definitely influence the olive oil flavor and yield. And then coastal breezes like we see here, in Kalamata, an altitude shape, definitely fruit ripening and help the aroma. So, quick kind of breakdown. Kornecki, we know, typical of Greece, robust, grassy, peppery oils. Arbequina tend to be a little bit smooth, a little bit buttery. But too much butter, not good, right? We don't want too much butter, a little bit of butter, right? On the palate. Piqual, high in antioxidants, bold and bitter. And then Italy, Frantoio and the Chino, balanced fruitness and spice. So typical kind of overall unique flavors of that. So from grove to oil, craft and flavor. Harvest time, early harvest, which we spoke about, Maria. She had a greener spice oil, cold press. So cold press it's terminology. It's all about keeping the temperature below, right? It's not anything that they're putting in the refrigerator. It's all about the relaxation and the extraction temperature, all right? Obviously, we'll increase the polyphenols in the aroma. And then storage, like Maria spoke about, light, exposure, impact, freshness, and taste. So not allowing oxygen to get to your oil, keeping it in a dark place, and opening only what you need, and keeping it and trying to use it as quick as possible. So flavor chemistry in oils, polyphenols equal bitterness and pungency, volatile compounds equal fruity and floral notes. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. And ripeness also alters the balance of sweet, bitter, and peppery tones. So to kind of go off of what Maria Jose spoke about. Tasting the difference. So Greek oils tend to be a little bit bold, peppery, and herbaceous. Italian oils, fruity, balanced, and complex. Spanish oils, smooth, with a little bit of almond, not too much almond, because once again, that's too much almond is not good. And maybe some red or green fruit, apple notes. And regional blends also showcase terroir-driven diversity. So you see a lot of times blends because of maybe the product might not be of high quality. Maybe they're trying to balance it out to make it a little bit more, I want to say, palatable for the not so trained palate of people not liking that peppery, robust flavor that certain oils will bring to the dish itself. So peppery oils pair well with greens, tomatoes, and legumes. Delicate oils pair with grains, nuts, and mild cheeses. And then balance bitterness, spice, and fat for harmony. So, olive oils, groves connected to land, culture, and cuisine. Flavor reflects harmony between nature and tradition. And each drop of oil tells a story of place and craft. That being said, so like Maria Jose said, we can't cook here. So yesterday and today I prepared a dish that kind of revolves around a lot of local ingredients. This time of the year, we're kind of transitioning out of summer into fall, using a multitude of different ingredients, but still maybe some late summer ingredients are still available, and kind of getting into, maybe cooking some stews and legumes. I used olla blanca throughout the cooking of every single ingredient here. So I did kind of like a chickpea salad. I did braise the chickpeas with a lot of olla blanca, and fried capers in olla blanca, cooked lemons in olla blanca. So I wanted to really showcase what the oil would bring to the actual dish itself. So that being said, I can talk about it enough. That being said, I'm going to present a dish using the olla blanca. So these are the chickpeas that were stewed very low and slow with a lot of olive oil and water, just because they need to absorb water. They wouldn't be able to just cook completely with the olive oil. So olive oil poached or olive oil cooked chickpeas that were peeled after they cooled down. And then what we did is trying to be as sustainable as possible and not waste food. We also wanted to focus on total usage of all the product itself as well. So we peeled the chickpeas after they were cooked, and then we fried the chickpea skins also in the olla blanca too. So you get a little textural kind of contrast that we're going to kind of garnish the top of the dish with as well. All right? Yeah. So that's a little bit of fresh red onion. Was not cooked. We want a little bit of kind of, peppery bite to it, and a little crunch. A local goat cheese that we thought would add a nice tanginess, and obviously, once again, trying to remain and think about local ingredients. Of course, local olives and tomatoes. This is the kind of bridge between summer and fall. Zucchini from the garden that was marinated with the olla blanca grilled prior. And then just a little bit, once again, to bring in that pepperiness and that kind of punch, some fresh greens, some arugula. We know that arugula has natural kind of grassy and kind of bitter and kind of punchy notes to it. And then
capers, once again fried in the oliva blanca. This will bring a little salinity to the dish itself. And a little bit of caper juice, caper brine to add to that. And then once again, we're going to reinforce the flavor from the dish with fresh oliva blanca to kind of really kind of bring those nuances of that up front. A pinch of smoked paprika. Pinch of salt. We really want to kind of just gently dress this forward, thinking about how, how important it is to have these very important nutritional ingredients, at your disposal, but also kind of thinking a little bit outside the box, creating that bridge between summer and fall and still, utilizing all the product that you possibly can when it comes to being sustainable and kind of reinforcing flavors of the Mediterranean. So super healthy, great flavors. Super healthy, great flavors, great textures, and once again, really supports, thank you, really supports the use of the olive oil and the products themselves. So, chickpea skin on top. Say that again? Yeah, please, enjoy. So if anybody has any questions, please let me know.
I have to say that this is one of the best oils. Oliva Blanca is.
I agree. It's probably one of my favorite mono cultivars, the Oliva Blanca. That's why I chose to use it, but I am not partial to anything specific. So, delicious. Any questions?
Delicious, healthy, sustainable.
That's it. Delicious, healthy, sustainable, and local, right?
And you say, how did you prepare the
chickpeas? Those chickpeas were braised in a lot of olive oil, Oliva Blanca, and water, so a combination. Almost like 50-50. Simmer, yes, simmer. And then they were cooled in that water, that cooking liquid, overnight. And then they were allowed to kind of really absorb the flavor. And then today we peeled the chickpeas and then used to fry and garnish the top of it for a little textural contrast.
You are one of us. You are one of us, and I was not considered.
How was it?
I want to try that.
Great. Delicious and healthy, I agree.
We're going to live forever.
And this is how Mediterranean diet survives, right?
I agree.
So yeah, if there are questions for Jason or for Jose, for myself.
Does anybody have any questions for myself, for Maria Jose, for Joe Profaci? Anybody? Yes.
If may I ask, what is the price of this salad in your restaurant?
Well, that's great.
That's for me.
That's great,
That's for me.
Yeah.
Cheap. How much will you pay?
In Kalamata or in Athens?
In Spain.
In Spain, double
In
that?
Kalamata, in Kalamata.
It depends on the restaurant.
It depends. Yes, of course.
Minimum.
It is a
The
local,
minimum
in a
you
local
will
taverna
pay.
would be around 7-8 euros.
For a portion like this, right? Something like this.
A little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger, yeah. This is
For 2 persons, let's say.
okay, yeah. This is. I would probably say this is an individual portion, maybe a nice appetizer size, not overly aggressive. We're always trying to think about portion size and controlling our appetite somewhat. To me, I think maybe a little. I think the dish itself, the bowl itself, would be appropriate. Maybe a little bit more inside might be appropriate, but.
So it's a very good idea about, also profitable.
Profitability, yes, absolutely.
Yes, when you put legumes, you are a winner. They are cheap. They are very cheap. I don't know, it depends on the restaurant, on the staff, because sometimes it's not only the restaurant. We are not just serving food. We have an environment. If you have a very expensive place, very expensive chairs, and good waiters, then you have to charge more.
Absolutely.
In your restaurant? In my restaurant, it wouldn't be cheap because I'm expensive. People choose you for cheap or for expensive. but you cannot be in the middle. If you deliver a lobster at 3 euros, nobody is gonna buy. If you sell lobster, you need to charge. Spain lobster is very expensive. So, or sea fresh, wild sea bass. You cannot ask for 9 euros. Everybody is going to think this is not good. If you charge 45, everybody will think that this is going to be good, and in fact it's going to be very good. So restaurants is a business, and we try to make ourselves the best we can in marketing terms.
Question over here.
But you can also, why you choose this olive oil?
Why did I choose this olive oil?
Best in the world, this one. No. One of the best.
That's a good question.
Yeah, but this one is one of the very good.
It is.
But also this salad is very nicely here. You can also do it with another egg.
Of course.
But why you specifically choose, as I said, this olive oil?
Well, two things. First of all, I am very good friends of Spain's olive oil, Spain. And then second of all, I do feel comfortable cooking with this olive oil itself because I know the profile that it's going to bring back to the food as well. So that's something that I'm always dependent upon as well. I always will taste the olive oil. Before I came here, I had already planned to use this. So I had multiple bottles shipped to me to taste and to do recipe development to kind of work around that. So that's another reason why as well.
But there is something I want to say. We are not talking about local.
No.
If you are not local. When we talk about olive oil, we have to be wide. We have to be wide because producers, we are very little. It's only one part of the world that's producing olive oil. And the world is huge. There is China, there is India, there is so many countries that we can sell olive oil. So we should be friends. You know, we should be colleagues. We should be. I never talk about where I buy my olive oil. I don't want to be messing with Cordoba, Jaén, or Kalamata, or whatever. I just talk about the product, and that's it. Because we should all think the same way. We are friends. We are working together. We belong to the COI, to the culinary olive oil, which is only us. It's not big, so we should work together. Many people in my restaurant, they go, why don't you use the olive oil from blah, 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 blah. Just let me work with olive oil, that's enough, there's plenty. Why should I focus on something small when we are huge? So I just talk about the whole thing.
Yes.
Thank you. So now you are talking about the high-end restaurant, but if I go to a supermarket, how do I choose an olive oil? How do I know if it's early harvest, mature, whether it's high quality, local? Yeah.
Joe, why don't you want? I think Joe's got. I think Joe.
Where are you?
I'm based in Norway, but I mean, just in general, how do I know when?
I can try to answer. It's a question we get often. The labels is where you begin. Price is an important indicator. My experience in quality. But I often tell consumers to buy the best olive oil that you can afford. But consider what it is you want to do with it. If you're looking for a special use, then maybe you look for authenticity from Spain or from Greece or from Italy or from Australia. Depends on what experience you're looking for that. If you're looking to cook with the oil, it's not as critical to consider some of those things because some of the flavor profiles will be lost as you're cooking. The other thing is to consider the size that you buy, because one of the most important things about olive oil is to use it. Don't once you open the bottle, it's 2 to 3 months when it will start to decline. So buy a size that you will use within 2 to 3 months, and when you get it home, use it. So those are the basic tips I give to users. In terms of harvest, so if you're looking for a special oil, yeah, definitely look at the harvest. The harvest olive oil, the IOC suggests that expiration date should be 2 years from bottling. Harvest can be, so from harvest can be a little longer, depends, but always buy the freshest that's available to you, and you'll have a better experience.
Yes, please. Sorry.
That was a perfect explanation, and it's just not to correct, it's just to complement, because I also have this question. Wow, when you go to the supermarket, and this is completely fine when you look at the size, the bottle, but my suggestion is take a couple, go at your place, put it, and first of all smell it. I mean, like we are doing with wine. So if we smell it and see, first of all, if it smells good, and then which one you like better. And that is, I see when people start to smell and try the oils, there is no way back. Then you distinguish what it smells good, what tastes good, what gives you mouth clean, what you want to mix with your vegetables or your fruit or whatever. So start to play with the don't be afraid to play with the product. That is to once after looking at the label and the bottle, smell it, taste it, play it, and choose your choice, because at the end it's like there are many different options.
But will you get like early harvest like this in a supermarket?
That's the problem. I live near.
You can get early harvest, but not right now. In the next month or so, you might
But
start
will
to
it
see
then be
it.
marked like this is
Absolutely.
an early harvest?
Absolutely.
But we are talking about the States. I know the problem because I have so many clients from Norway, and they buy olive oil in Spain. When they come, they bring the olive oil. And when they try to pay in Norway, no matter how much you pay, they never get this. Why? Because you are starting on the olive oil world, and you need a time to learn and a time to make people. If you buy the olive oil and you don't complain and you think it's good, it's going to be always the same. When you go to buy olive oil and we say, this is not as good as the one we had in Spain, I'm not buying, then they will start thinking this is going to be next step, make it better. I mean, I know the situation in Norway because I travel to Norway. I know what you have there available is expensive and it's not as good as this. I know.
Here's an example. So this conference that I attended from the other slide presentation, this was a bottle they gave me. And so this is it says, right, so it says early harvest, flavorful and fruity, tells you the crop year, 2025, 2026. So this will be available in the US in a couple of months probably. And it won't last long because they will continue to harvest through the season.
So we have a question over here.
I think that every bottle has the clear information. First of all, we have to check the year, but depends, because as you said, 25, 26, maybe it is 25, January, February, March. That means old. 25 we still have now. We have the early harvest, so we have to check 3 dates. One is the year, the month, and then the date of the embottling. The date of the embottling is the most important for 26, because 25, and if you know that it is September and October, the harvest season, that is true, is now. For 26, we have to check also the embottling date. And for me, no more than 1 year. Okay. The expiring date, no more than 1 year. Thank you. Thank you.
The reality, though, at least in the United States, is you won't find that information on bottles unless it is in the specialty category. Unless it's the higher priced oils that are being marketed to a more discerning customer, and it will come from one state. And because if in many cases you are mixing oils of different varieties that may come from different regions. You may have 3 different harvest dates. There's not enough room in the bottle. It's too confusing for the consumer. So in that case, the best buy date, if it comes from a reliable producer, is the most important information. but it has to be from a reliable producer. And if it doesn't have a best by date, I would never buy it. So.
Yes, sir. Another one question, please. Would you recommend us to avoid made in many places?
Well, another very good question, and one that I'd like to answer. So there are two reasons why a producer, at least in the United States or in Canada, may blend oils from different regions. Number one, the American consumer doesn't like robust flavors. Okay? So if you are producing in Puglia, in Italy, and your local variety is Cocina, forget it. So that has to be blended with some less robust oils. The other thing is availability, because maybe last year in Puglia the crop wasn't good, and you have to try to find a flavor profile that you can match every year for your consumer base. So there's another reason. And also costing can be important too. So all those reasons could be why it makes sense to offer a bottle that's a blend. But again, if it's up to the consumer, what is your intent? Are you cooking with this oil? Are you going, do you want a certain flavor profile? Those are your personal decisions that you have to make. And I agree with Jaime too. When I buy a bottle of olive oil, first thing I do, it's like when I was younger, I would buy a loaf of bread, I would break off the end and eat it before I got it home. I'm in the car, I open the bottle, I take a swig in the car. I want to know what it tastes like. I want to know immediately what it tastes like.
And what about guides? We have very trustable guides. A volume, in Italy there is another guide. Maybe in America you have also?
I'm not sure what
guides.
You mean by
A
guides.
guide, like a book.
Like ratings?
Flo Soleil,
Oh, Flo Soleil, okay.
a volume, Iberolium.
We don't really have those.
You don't have those, but we do.
We have the New York International Olive Council competition, but those competitions
No,
are
I'm talking about
different.
the guys like Flo Soleil, a volume, Iberolium. Those guys are online, and you can follow. And if you have 98 points, you are good, of course. The winners is not just the winners of a prize; they are really on the top. So guides is a good recommendation also for you. Iberolium, a volume, I think Flo Soleil in Italy, and maybe others, but I don't know them all. There's no locals.
At the beginning you said that fresh oil, you wouldn't use it you would use it for cold dishes, and the more mature for warm dishes. Why wouldn't you choose to also use the newer oil for all the dishes? Because it probably adds more flavor, no?
Because after heating, flavors disappear. Bad and good. So bad olive oils can be used to cook. If they are not very, very good, you can use them for cooking. But they won't add nothing to a salad.
But when you cook with them, some of those flavor, compounds and flavonoids, they will be absorbed into the food. So it will add flavor to your food. Some of it is lost in the air, but some goes into your food. Right. So, but it is the price. So it's very expensive.
Friday, very good extracurricular. It's the Friday.
I always fry it in the best of the best of the best by eggs. What is better than an egg?
That's it. What makes sense to use good oil to fry the eggs.
Yes, but a fried egg is a jewel. I mean, you can play with the oils. One day with this, the other day with the other one. I mean, you choose the right thing. Cheap thing with a maybe expensive or not. What is expensive? Brigida Jimenez says, how much will you spend a day using olive oil intensely? Not much. You drink a bottle of champagne in an hour, and then you forget about the price, and it may be more expensive.
Well, I was working with a chef in Spain this weekend who is an African-American chef, who fries chicken in olive oil, in extra virgin olive oil. So, but talk about a difference in cost, it can be huge. Her recipe calls for 3 cups of extra virgin olive oil, or 3 cups of canola oil. So the difference works out to almost $1 per piece of chicken. So it's actually quite, it does cost a lot more.
But he's selling more expensive because of that.
What's that?
He can sell more expensive because of the use of olive oil.
But she's not a chef in a restaurant.
Okay.
She's catering, and she wants to teach people in her community to cook at home using olive oil instead of less healthy oils. So the price is a very significant factor in the change in people's habits from seed oil to extra virgin olive
I
oil.
think we have to fry cheap stuff in extra virgin, very expensive olive oil. Who needs expensive food? I mean, we've been eating last night peas and lentils, and we were all happy, very happy. And we didn't even need the meat. When the meat came, we were all full. So spend on olive oil, and then you will have the profit.
Thanks, Joe. This is a very recherche question, but since we have a Croatian here, I want to ask it. We worked in Albania for a long time, and one thing we noticed was there was zonation in olive cultivation. North of Flora, which is about halfway up, olives went bye-bye, and but to the south, lots and lots of olive production. This was at the end of communism. But is that a cultural choice? Because obviously you have quite a bit of olive cultivation farther up the coast.
There's tons of olive cultivation throughout the entire coast, to be honest with you. Immediately on the coast, it does kind of wean back a little bit more inland, it's a little bit more through the entire country of Croatia. I can't speak for any other parts of ex-Yugoslavia, but for the entire country of Croatia, I can also say it is an extremely robust ingredient and extremely robust business throughout the country. The one issue is that the country has slowly started paying attention and homage to the production of olive oil, the quality of the olive oil, putting money back into the promotion of what olive oil means to gastronomy in the country. For a long time, it really wasn't a priority of theirs to do it. Now that they are part of the EU and now they are part of Schengen, it has become a lot more easier to promote those ingredients in gastronomy and make it a little bit more prevalent to other countries as well.
Thanks.
Of course. Anything else? Thank you all very much. Thank you.